So, the heats are over. The finals now get things going. Very, very shortly, we're getting underway with our B final. So, the grid is as follows. Harry Samuel, Max Hauser front row. Row 2, Ayrton Rai, Sam Hayes. And it's Alfie Forrester and Ralphie Branscombe. George Ralston, Mason Webster, Rio Wardalley and William Howard ran out the top 10 ahead of James Winstanley and Thomas Percox. Joshua Owen, Maximus Lewis, Alex McCullough, JJ Plowman, Isaac Huburn, Scarlett Percox ran at the top 18. So 38 drivers, 18 of these drivers here in the B final. Top 10 will be going through to the A final, and that will be the penultimate race of the race weekend before we head to Lydd in the southeast in Kent on the 5th of July. And thereby I'll be handing back this warm commentary position back to David Sullivan. What is the lap record for Honda Cadets? Well, there's so many different circuits. ISW 88 Racing, I wouldn't be able to tell you off the top of my head. So the B final will be 9 minutes plus a lap, and then our finals, all 5 of them, will be 12 minutes plus an additional lap rather than the customary 15 because of the delays that we had during proceedings with the low-lying fog and a red flag. There is a thumbs up from one of the drivers. So the drivers now making their way out of the dummy grid. I'm told by Lauren from the CKC team to exit out of the dummy grid and down the entry ramp onto the circuit, being led by Harry Samuel and Max Hauser. So top 10 will go through. Oh, Harry Samuel. Crikey. I think Max Hauser nearly had a heart attack when the 22 decided to spin it at Iredale's and now has to wait for everybody to get past. 8.9 for style points there. Good control as well, I must say. But that's not one of the things you want to do when you're going on a formation lap heading onto the starting grid. So Harry Samuel must have thought, oh, I'm not going to hold this one. And he definitely was not, well, he's able to manage to keep it pointing the other way, held the brakes. It's very important. You don't want the cart to start rolling back because then otherwise there could be trouble ahead. Soylent Green, yes, it is very, very slippy, to say the very least. Last bit of encouragement for the drivers ahead of their journey over the next 10 minutes or so. And who will make it through to the A final later on this afternoon? We will find out. But until that point, it's a journey into the unknown. So they're just double checking that the grid is in the correct order. So it's Harry Samuel and Max Hauser on the front row, with Ayrton Rai and Sam Hayes on row 2. Row 3, it's Alfie Forrester and Ralphie Branscombe. And the numbers 79 and 96. Right then. Drivers told to look at the lights. Red lights are out. We are off and underway for the Honda Cadet B final. Who's going to get there first? Oh my goodness, what a launch from Ayrton Rai. Trying to get towards the outside, but still has to hold back and stay in third position. Sam Hayes very much in the thick of things. The drivers make their way down into McRae's for the first time of asking. Top two line astern, so Harry Samuel leads from Max Hausergo into Iredale's. Oh, Hausergo round, and then Ayrton Rai spins as well. Oh, traffic jam down at Iredale's. So three drivers having a little bit of a drama, including Max Hausergo. The problem is in these tricky conditions, if you snap on the brakes too hard, the back end will lock up and spin you around, guaranteed. Drivers now making their way down the hill through St John's and into Sunny Bend, but it's Harry Samuel that is leading the way quite comfortably, ahead of the number 11 of Sam Hayes. They come across the line to complete the first lap. Harry Samuel leads by 2.1 seconds. Sam Hayes in second. Ralphie Branscombe rounds out the top three. George Ralston and Alfie Forrester, the top five. Rio Wardali, Mason Webster, JJ Plowman, Ayrton Rai and Alex McCullough round out the top 10 positions. Those top 10 places, ultra important. It's basically if you get into the top 10 and you're confirmed to be in that, you are in the A final. 79 there, that is Alfie Forrester, was looking up the inside of George Ralston going through into Iredale's. And they go through into the Stuart S's. Very close there for Rio Wardali, looking up the inside of Alfie Forrester. Down the hill they go. As Harry Samuel already making his way towards Paddock Bend at a great rate of knots. So Alfie Forrester looking towards the inside of George Ralston coming out of Paddock Bend. This is the battle for third, fourth and fifth. Forrester looking closer through even into the chicane, but can't get through. Rio Wardali being chased down by Mason Webster in the number two. Harry Samuel with clear air up ahead, able to put in the quick lap times, 1 minute 5.014. The drivers making their way towards the Stuart S's. Hopefully we'll see Harry Samuel come through that very, very shortly. And between Sam Hayes and Ralphie Branscombe, there's the race leader, Harry Samuel. There's Sam Hayes, there's Ralphie Branscombe. George Ralston, Alfie Forrester. Alex McCullough, in the meantime, has managed to make it up to P8. Ayrton Rai and Joshua Owen round out the top 10 now. Followed by James Winstanley, Maximus Lewis and Max Hausergo. Hausergo now up into 13th and is starting to make a bit of a comeback. Having unfortunately dropped it through Iredale's. Drivers make their way up through the chicane once again. So 5 minutes and 20 still to go, plus an additional lap. Ralphie Branscombe still keeping ahead of George Ralston at the moment as they go through Iredale's. Alfie Forrester looking rather menacing in the background. Look towards the inside of the number 99 for fourth position. But with 5 minutes to go, 4 minutes down, 5 to go, plus a lap. There we are. Oh, right, someone has had a bit of a moment. That was through the Stuart S's, and that was the number 11 of Sam Hayes. So Sam Hayes drops it coming out of the Stuart S's and ends up out of the top two. Has that compromised the number 11's race and means that Sam Hayes might not make it through the top 10 and into the A final a little bit later on. However, we've still got some great battling happening. Mason Webster trying to chase down Rio Wardali. That's the battle for P5 on the road. And I'm going to bring this man in whilst we're on commentary. Very good afternoon to Josh East, our resident photographer. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, doing very well, thank you. Been a very good weekend so far. Looking forward to the A finals now, so all to play for soon. Obviously, B final with the Hondas.
Yep.
So hopefully a couple of these make it through and get in the back of the grid ready to race.
I was going to say, have you had any washing tips for your minus 273 gloves that got a bit dirty in the mechanics race last night?
I did get a couple. They're looking shiny again, so all sorted. No, they're bright gloves, so got to keep them top tip.
A bit like your high-vis vest that you're currently wearing at the moment, but really good to see that, we've got a little bit of a nigh-on coming together. Ayrton Rai nearly had Joshua Owen up the inside. All of a sudden, Max Hausigo making a rise up through the ranks. I mean, photography is a very, very understated art. And you've got a little bit of an apprentice with you who's been with us since Wilton Mill, Jacob Howard. What's it been like sort of teaching him about the finer nuances of photography?
No, Jake's been phenomenal. He came to me. I've met him before. He came to me asking how do I get better? Like what shots do I need to get? And how do I get this? I was like, you know what? Let's put you through your paces. Let's get you going. And he's really shone. To be fair, he's had some cracking shots.
Right. That's Max Hausigo and Joshua Owen. And there was someone else there as well. Might have been Alex McCullough. So it's all changed at the bottom part of the top 10, which could mean more dramas for those looking to get into the A final. With 3 minutes on the clock, Josh, it's never written in stone until that checkered flag flies, doesn't it?
No, as much as we know from the mechanics race last night, it all goes haywire. Even 2 minutes to go, and it can very easily change.
Yeah, well, listen, mate, thanks for jumping in ever so briefly.
No, thank you.
We'll catch up with you at some point during the season, I'm sure. Big thank you to Josh East, part of the crew with Stu Stretton Photography. So one of the many people like Matt Plum and Foxy Red Photography as well that have taken photographs of the CKC over the course of the season. Just over 2 minutes to go, and we've got a really good battle happening here coming through. Now this is for second place. Ralphie Branscombe being chased down again by Alfie Forrester. Rio Wardali rounds out the top four. Alex McCullough in 5th place ahead of George Ralston. Mason Webster, Ayrton Rai, Max Hausigo and Maximus Lewis. Oh, right. Looks like they were trying to get back past one of the back markers there as we head into the last 90 or so seconds. The conditions have not been easy for these drivers all day long, and also with the fact that we had significant rainfall overnight. But keeping my eyes on Alfie Forrester and Ralphie Branscombe, their line astern coming across the start-finish line. The battle for second very much on as Branscombe leads them up the hill through into turns 1 and 2, through the chicane once again, and now into McRae's. The run down there. Can Forrester put a move up the inside of Branscombe? Branscombe runs a little bit wide out of the corner. The youngster, 10 years of age, based out of East London. And Alfie Forrester, also 10 years of age, based out of Derby. And it's his 2nd year in outdoor karting and his 1st year in this Cadet Kart Championship. So good to see new drivers joining this championship that has tripled in numbers over the past couple of seasons. And now there's, Forrester went deep. Branscombe went, no, you are not, going through, and just literally launched the kart up the inside by taking the wide sweeping momentum racing line going through the Stuart S's. So he made that move stick. Nice work there by Ralphie Branscombe, but still have to give credit where credit is due to Alfie Forrester for trying to attempt that move. We're on to the last 10 or so seconds of the race itself. So at the moment, the drivers provisionally going through. Well, Harry Samuel is leading by a country mile. Currently 6.5 seconds. Timer hit 0. And there is Branscombe and Forrester. Next time around, Harry Samuel in the 22 will get the last lap board. And that will be the sign that Harry Samuel will want to see. Alfie Forrester still pressurising Ralphie Branscombe for 2nd place. Here's the battle for 4th and 5th. Rio Wardali and Alex McCullough. McCullough gets a great run coming out of Iredale's. Looks towards the outsiders through on the inside of the Stuart S's. It's a repeat of the last lap. Ralphie Branscombe manages to thread the eye of the needle as Alfie Forrester sent it up the inside, tight through the apex on the first part of the Stuart S's. He then went wide and Branscombe saw the gap and took it. along with the top 5, George Ralston, Ayrton Rai, Mason Webster, Max Hausigo and JJ Plowman provisionally round out the top 10 as things stand. That's the running order as we speak, as we're on the last lap. Harry Samuel is away and clear by nearly to the tune of 0.7 of a second. There's Ralphie Branscombe and Alfie Forrester still battling away over second place. More battles happening up and down the order, but still, it's going to be a shame for 8 of the drivers. They will not progress past this stage of the race weekend. However, they still will score points towards their championship efforts this year. But this time through the Stuart S's, Alfie Forrester does not launch it from way back when, or way back where thereof, to try and get past Ralphie Branscombe. However, there is your race leader about to come through the final corner. The Honda Cadet B final. It's been one driver above all. It's Harry Samuel that wins by a country mile. But Ralphie Branscombe's going to hold on. Is Alfie Forrester going to get him on the line? No, he does not. Ralphie Branscombe and Alfie Forrester. And it's Rio Wardali versus Alex McCulloch, and McCulloch gets it by 26 thousandths of a second. George Ralston rounds out the top 6. Now we've got a few more drivers to wait for, another 4 to cross the line. Who's going to be next? It's going to be Ayrton Rai ahead of Max Hausigo, who came back to finish in 8th, ahead of Mason Webster, and the last driver to go across the line, Joshua Owen, the number 57.